When did the Prime Minister first become a convert to fire and rehire?
Firstly, it will give people basic dignity at work, and secondly, it will help grow our economy, something that the last government absolutely failed on for 14 long years.
Recently, the UK Parliament has witnessed a relentless battle between Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, as both leaders dive into criticising each other on issues ranging from the economy to labour rights. In this power struggle, who will emerge victorious? Or are the people merely unwilling spectators in this political drama? Let's delve into the real impacts of this power play. In a tense session of Parliament, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Labour Party leader Keir Starmer engaged in a fiery confrontation that captured the nation's attention. From the very first question, Starmer did not hesitate to criticise Sunak's failures in economic management, particularly the increasing financial burden on the British public. When did you become a supporter of firing and rehiring employees? Starmer asked, targeting the government's controversial fire and rehire policy. Sunak responded confidently, "We will introduce the most significant labour rights bill in a generation." But is that promise enough to ease the concerns of those struggling with rising living costs? Starmer quickly fired back, accusing Sunak and his government of prioritising the interests of big business over the needs of workers. Sunak, in a bid to regain control, emphasised his government's success in attracting major investments from companies like Amazon and Blackstone. "We secured $8 billion from Amazon and $10 billion from Blackstone, creating thousands of jobs nationwide," Sunak proudly declared. But Starmer was quick to dismiss these claims, stating, "Those dry numbers cannot hide the fact that the economy is on the brink of recession." This dramatic session set Parliament ablaze, as the two leaders relentlessly attacked each other. Watch the clip below to witness the sharp arguments and explosive tension between Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer.
In a generation. And that'll do two things, Mr. Speaker. Firstly, it will give people basic dignity at work. And secondly, it will help grow our economy, something that the last government absolutely failed on for 14 long years.
The opposition. Well, Mr. Speaker, when he talks about security at work, once again, it's one rule for him and another rule for everyone else. But I know that not everything or everyone has survived his first 100 days in government. So can he confirm that when he promised not to raise income tax, national insurance or VAT, that commitment applies to both employer and employee national insurance contributions?
One of the key questions Starmer posed to Sunak was whether he would uphold his commitment not to raise national insurance for workers and businesses. This was a crucial promise Sunak made before the election, but he avoided giving a direct answer during this session. Sunak's vagueness on this issue has left many in the UK concerned. Increases in taxes and national insurance are major factors putting pressure on the middle class and small businesses, particularly as the economy continues to struggle in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic and Brexit. Starmer seized the opportunity to criticise Sunak, accusing the Conservative government of deceiving the public about its financial commitments. The issue of taxes and national insurance has become a flashpoint in UK politics. Many experts suggest that if the government isn't careful, tax hikes could plunge the UK economy into a deeper recession. This further increases the pressure on Sunak as he seeks to balance economic stability with keeping his promises to voters. Not only were issues of tax and labour discussed, but immigration and Brexit were also on the agenda during the session. The issue of illegal immigration has become one of the most pressing problems in Europe in general, and the UK in particular. Sunak pledged to take strong measures to tackle illegal immigration, especially as many European countries begin to tighten their immigration policies. However, the impact of Brexit on the UK economy cannot be overlooked. Small businesses, particularly in the export sector, are facing numerous challenges due to the new Brexit regulations. Sunak has met with EU leaders to discuss improving trade terms, but Starmer argued that Brexit has caused significant losses that are difficult to remedy in the short term. The immigration issue is also a source of concern for many British voters. Stricter border controls following Brexit not only create difficulties for immigrants, but also pose barriers for British businesses looking to hire foreign labour. Sunak also announced a new national security bill during the session, aimed at addressing the increasingly complex threats facing the UK. He pledged to give more power to security forces, enabling them to respond quickly to terrorist situations and cyber attacks. While Starmer did not oppose this bill, he emphasised that the government must ensure that the new security measures do not infringe upon the personal freedoms of British citizens. He called for a more thorough discussion on balancing security and human rights. This bill received consensus from both parties, but it also raises questions about how the government will implement the new security measures in practice, especially in the context of rapidly advancing digital technology. In the midst of a turbulent political landscape, the controversy surrounding the application of VAT on tuition fees at Christian schools is creating a storm. Emmanuel School in Derby and King's School in Hampshire have decided to stand up against the government, threatening legal action if this bill is not repealed. The issue is that the government is considering imposing VAT on tuition fees for private schools, which could lead to serious consequences for many Christian schools. The leaders of these schools argue that this will not only increase the financial burden on parents, but could also force many schools to close due to an inability to pay the taxes. The confrontation between Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer goes beyond policy. It is an ideological battle reflecting the deep divisions within British society. Sunak prides himself on economic achievements and attracting investment, yet the public is struggling under the weight of taxes and economic pressure. His promise to protect workers' rights easily becomes a double-edged sword, raising further concerns. On the other hand, Starmer continuously capitalises on public discontent, attacking Sunak's mistakes and calling for reform. Support from social groups makes his strategy appear promising, but the outcomes remain uncertain. From immigration policies and Brexit to global economic fluctuations, the future of both parties hinges on these developments. What will voters choose? A government grappling to assert itself, or an opposition that promises change but remains vague? Only time will tell, and this battle may just be the beginning of even greater challenges. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the latest and most insightful political analyses. We will continue to provide updates on significant developments in the confrontation between Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, as well as many other pressing topics that directly affect your life. They contend that this violates the religious freedom of parents, as many want their children to attend schools that align with their religious values. Christian schools emphasise that they not only provide education, but also build communities and uphold important cultural values. If the government does not listen, they will not hesitate to fight for their rights. Furthermore, education experts warn that applying VAT will create a wider gap between public and private schools,